In our second panel, we have several veteran service organizations. Ms. Tammy Bartlett from Student Veterans of America, Mr. Matthew Brennan from the American Legion, Ms. Alicia Bodie from Code Platoon and the Vet Tech Working Group, and Mr. Patrick Murray from Veterans of Foreign Wars. I'd like to welcome the witnesses on our second panel to the witness table. I ask that you all please stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you very much, and let the record reflect that the witnesses have all answered in the affirmative. I want you all to know that we've read your written testimony. In the interest of time, we're going to go right into questions, and I ask for unanimous consent to waive the taking of this oral testimony and proceed directly to questioning the witnesses. All right, without objection, so ordered. Now yield to Ranking Member Levin for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of questions. I'll start with Ms. Bartlett. I want to thank you for your written testimony on the Student Veteran Benefit Restoration Act. I think you perfectly explained the problem at hand that, and I quote, "While relief exists for federal student loan borrowers impacted by fraud, the same is not true for VA education beneficiaries," end quote. It's incredibly unfair to GI Bill students, especially given the sacrifices they've made through their service or that of their loved one. What kind of message do you think it sends to veterans and military families that we have this discrepancy?
Thank you, Ranking Member Levin. Appreciate the question. The message that the discrepancies currently exists shows that there is a movement to make sure that these student veterans and other military-affiliated students are taken care of. This piece of legislation puts forth that with the understanding that VA will also be restored in the support that they've given that student veteran and other military-associated student veterans. So this is something that needs to be done and moving in the right direction.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Look forward to working with you and student veterans on this legislation. Any other witnesses have any ideas or suggestions on further improvements to TAP? Go ahead, Ms. Bartlett.
Thank you, Representative Levin. Something that was mentioned at our joint hearing just a few months ago was the understanding that when a service member goes from TAP to as a veteran, that they're aware of the professional adjustment they can perform in their FAFSA application. So there's an understanding that when they come out and now they're the veteran and they're filling out the FAFSA, that FAFSA is not being implemented with their last income tax when they had a job through the military. But it's being adjusted through the institution, a conversation through the institution and that student veteran with the understanding that they recently transitioned.
Got it. I appreciate that. Thank you all. We look for your continued input, feedback on improvements to TAP. And with that, I'll yield back to the chairman.
Thank you. I now recognize Ms. Ramirez from Arizona for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman. I want to first thank you all for your written testimonies, particularly on my legislation that creates some level of parity between Title IV and Title 38. As you know, the committee has long wished to restore veterans who have been defrauded or otherwise left holding the bag for bad actors. The GI Bill has had a profound impact on veterans as they return to civilian life. The educational benefits have provided the GI Bill instrumental service to helping veterans improve their economic security and promote their success in post-secondary education. Moreover, these benefits have helped ensure that veterans are fully supported and integrated into the education community. Sadly, as we know, there are still some predatory, often for-profit institutions that see GI Bill educational benefits and only see a profitable exploit. HR 1767, the Student Veteran Benefit Restoration Act, is essential for the veteran community and it needs to be prioritized. The bill ensures that our veterans receive full educational benefits if a for-profit institution has wrongfully defrauded them. We're committed to our veterans. And part of that commitment is ensuring that the GI Bill educational benefit is honored for our veterans who have more than earned it and their families and loved ones. My ranking member, Congressman Mike Levin from California, has shown his commitment to this issue for years, and I'm honored to have his support as an original co-sponsor of the bill, H.R. 1767. It's also earned support from key champions for vets, veteran education success, and student veterans of America. I want to come back to your testimony, and I want to ask you a couple of questions in the time that I do have. This question is for Ms. Barlet, or anyone else could actually answer as well, but should there be an expectation that schools repay benefits if they fail to provide a student veteran the class that they promised them?
Thank you, Representative Ramirez. It is something that needs to be taken into account. These are federal funds that are being used for the veteran or the military-affiliated student veteran attending these institutions. So when a closure or false career expectations come from this, and VA and SSA decide to no longer use that institution for services, it does need to be taken into account.
So why has the VA not already acted to restore benefits for more students impacted by school closures or in instances of fraud?
Unfortunately, I am unable to answer that question for you, but looking at the trend of how Department of Education established the borrower's defense, it was just a matter of time for additional agencies to also work within that same manner.
So do you believe using the borrower defense is a good way to properly capture students who need the GI Bill restored?
It is one of the tools, but your legislation is going to lead to additional tools to ensure that they are made whole.
Got it. Thank you. And last question for you. Are there other triggers that would be appropriate to make sure that we're restoring these benefits for the veterans?
Other triggers would be, like I mentioned before, the false career expectations. When a veteran discusses with the institution's administration and they see that if they attend there and complete the degree, that there is going to be a job expectation for them coming out of that that is going to lead their family into success and security, we want to ensure that those actors that provide that information are doing well. But those actors that give false career expectations are under that scrutiny.
Thank you. Look, I just a few more words on my bill, and thank you so much for the work that you're doing and how, you've explained how critical this bill is to help restore those benefits. It's long past time to give our veteran community the justice they deserve. We have to ensure that no student veteran is ever robbed of their educational benefits, again, by making sure we're cutting off any predatory schemes. I really look forward to working with our ranking member, our chairman, and the entire Veteran Affairs Committee to ensure that every student veteran has access to their full educational benefits. I urge all of my colleagues to join us by co-sponsoring, and I look forward to swiftly moving to a committee markup. Thank you, and I yield back, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. I now recognize Mr. McGarvey from Kentucky for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate everybody's testimony today. I want to talk a little about H.R. 291, which is the Vaccine Discharge Parity Act, introduced by my colleague, Mr. Fitzgerald. This bill is going to reinstate GI benefits to veterans discharged due to refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. It means these individuals will get access to their benefits, which I think is a good thing to have veterans being able to access their benefits. It's also going to mean they're going to jump the line over other individuals still waiting for their benefits, such as those discharged under the Don't Ask, Don't Tell law. So I'm for expanding benefits. But let's think about the frustration, the hurt, the betrayal that a lot of our veterans who were let go from their service under Don't Ask, Don't Tell have to wait again to try and access their GI education benefits. Enough's enough. Ms. Barlet, could you speak a little bit about the need for comprehensive reform to eligibility for education benefits and not just picking here and there who gets them?
Thank you, Representative. A comprehensive reform would let those veterans understand that their government is behind them, and things that had made or issues that had made their discharge difficult or less than honorable is being discussed. Things such as underlining mental health conditions, MST, or because of their sexual orientation while service.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And, you know, we started off today talking about a tragedy for our soldiers down at Fort Campbell, a tragedy that so many, you know, it's a risk anyone who puts on a uniform takes to serve us, right? And I think that it's important for us to be there for those who put on that uniform after they serve because of the risks they take. And so I hope this is an area we can get right and have a comprehensive reform so that the people who've served have access to the benefits they've earned. I stress that they've earned. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
I want to thank you all for coming and for your views on this legislation discussed today. I believe the proposals we have here today, including VETTEC, which we just discussed, Authorization Act of 2023, are incredibly important to ensuring veterans continue to use the benefits that they have earned. I look forward to continue working with the stakeholders, that's all of our vets and also the ranking member and the rest of the committee, to get these bills to the floor. With that, I yield to the ranking member, Mr. Levin, for any concluding remarks he might have.
No concluding remarks. I appreciate the chairman, appreciate all of our witnesses. Thanks for all the excellent work that you do.
Thank you, Ranking Member Levin, and thank you again for coming to participate in today's hearing. I ask unanimous consent to enter into the record statements from the Disabled American Veterans and Veterans Education Success. Without objection, so ordered. I ask unanimous consent that all members have 5 legislative days to revise and extend their remarks and include extraneous materials. Without objection, so ordered. This hearing stands adjourned.